All right, hello and welcome to our first video summary lesson, blah, blah, blah. What we're going to talk about today is what we learned in today's lesson, which was how to read chord pictures and the tab, okay? The tab you did really well with, so I'm going to be real brief about that. But the chord pictures, we have a bunch of chords to learn, so we got to make sure that you know how those work. All right, so the chord pictures we have, oh look, I've got the paper right here, are all set up in this little graph, or in this little grid that you'll see right here, okay? Now, it's set up so that way the vertical lines, the up and down lines, are the strings, which are numbered 6 through 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going this way. And then the spots, the openings that we have are horizontal, made by the horizontal lines. So we have the first fret, those are the different spaces we put our finger in. So it'll be the first fret, second fret, third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, and so on. Next, we have one of three things in each of these chord diagrams. We have a dot for fingers, we have an O for open strings, and an X for strings we don't play. You'll see one of those three things on each of these grids. So for instance, in this first grid, which I will demonstrate now while you follow along on your copy of this, you'll notice that on the first line we have a dot, right? And it's in the second space. So I'm going to put my finger at the second space of the first string. Which finger should I use, Matt? Good question. I'm so glad you asked. It says down at the bottom which fingers we're going to use, and we see an M underneath, which means middle finger. Okay? On the next string, we see a dot, on the number 2 string that is, we see a dot at the third space with the letter R underneath it, so we're going to put our ring finger there. Okay? So we keep our middle finger down, put our ring finger down at the next dot. Third string, we see a dot, and it's in the second space, so we're going to put our index finger down right there, because that's the one that it says for us to put down. And then the last thing we see is we see an O on the number 4 string, so that means we're going to hit that string, this one, the number 4 string, right here. We're going to hit that one open, and then we see 2 X's on the number 5 and 6 strings, so we're not even going to touch those. So I'm going to take my thumb or pick, or whatever I'm using, and I'm going to strum those top 4 strings. And there we have our major chord, okay? When you're practicing these chords, you want to try to make sure that you're hearing every note out of them evenly. Okay, if any of them sound muted, like this, that means we got to make sure, oh, maybe I need to press down harder. Oh, there it is, or whatever the case may be. But you want to make sure you go through each note one at a time. So that was this chord picture we have right here. God, this is hard to do while looking in the camera. It's all backwards. So that was our D chord right here, okay? So that should match what your hand was doing when you played it, okay? On this one other page, you will see 8 different chords. Don't worry about these bottom 2 right now. We're going to talk about those at a later date. We see 8 chords right there. Those are all real important to learn because they're going to be used in all the songs we do. Lastly, the last thing I'm going to say is do not forget. One of the important things that we want to, that I want to get from you is a list of songs that you want to learn. Okay, because we want this to be fun for you. We want you to have a good time playing guitar. You know how that happens? That happens when we do songs you like and not songs that I like. Okay, so now go practice chords.